You know about those things again for tuning into yet another video. Let's go ahead and get into it. Of course, you guys have been seeing all of this news. Robbie Starbuck on Twitter, now known as X, has been doing a lot of digging on Harley Davidson, and a lot of the stories are going viral. They're getting some traction, and people are just wondering. The last couple of days, of course, we've been seeing Harley's being under a spotlight. Now, we know Harley Davidson has always been a bike manufactured in the US of A. Unfortunately, because of, costs and, Wall Street stocks, public traded company, they got to make money for their stockholders, all right? So, over the last couple years, I'd say more like since 2008, 2007, the focus of making quality bikes has shifted to profits and shortcuts and cost savings and a lot of different things. Okay, you guys can say what you want to say. I've made, of course, quite a few videos on the CEO. They're in the history. Maybe about 3 years back, I highlighted some of the reasons why Zeiss has been increasing the prices. He felt like for many years Harley Davidson has been losing money on these bikes. Keep in mind, the technology is relatively old. Push rod technology, air cooled technology, they haven't really reinvented the hamster wheel. Okay, let's just say that. Let's just keep it nice. It's been pretty much the same technology. You guys know the Sportsters. Honestly, the Sportsters have been pretty much left unchanged since the 1990s. All right, if you just remove the EFI, they're pretty much the same, from the CV, from the carbureted. Back in, I'd say 1980s, maybe 1970s, 1980s, probably more to be more accurate. 1980s, they've been pretty much left unchanged, except for the EFI, which was recently back in 2006. So as far as R&D and profits and investments, they've been pretty much the same. I mean, they're really not losing money, but I don't know. I'm not a finance guy. All right. As far as, some of the other failed projects like the Livewire and maybe the Revolution Max, how it's been going, as far as, some stuff that I've already made videos on. I don't want to get into it, but Livewire has lost them a ton of money. Anyways, getting into it, of course, a couple articles here. Harley to move more motorcycle production to Thailand. Union isn't happy. Of course, the union's not happy because their members are losing out on hours and work and stuff like that. Money, all right? Same thing. For the same reason why you could file a grievance with your union when your company's, they're expediting, or how do you say, they're sending your work overseas. All right, you have a union. They're supposed to protect you. They're supposed to make sure that you're provided with hours. I'm pretty sure, just like my work and their work, they have people on ODL, which is overtime desired list, and those folks are pretty much guaranteed at least 10 to 12 hours a day. So if you're an employee at Harley Davidson and you are on that ODL, because of the high cost of living now under the current administration, you will be upset knowing that your work's being shifted out overseas. Same thing as the truck drivers. Everybody's going to be losing hours because production's going to fall, the transportation's going to fall as well. Maybe they'll probably transport them from the port. Who knows where they're coming from? Maybe San Francisco or Oakland or LA or wherever they're going to be transporting these bikes from. Anyways, let's get on to, of course, the union's not happy. The members are going to be losing money. All right, so based off of this article, they're shifting the production of the Revolution Max over to Thailand for a temporary basis, which is pretty much BS. We saw this back 4 years ago. They opened up a production or a plant in Thailand. They did close a plant here in the States around the same time, but they also opened up another plant in the States. All right, this is when they stopped producing the Sportster. This was right around Euro 5. And the old plant, that's where they used to manufacture the Dyna and the Sportster, if I remember correctly, because it's been 3 or 4 years. And they shifted that stuff over to a new plant, but of course they're only manufacturing, I believe, the Milwaukee 8s and the baggers, and I believe maybe another model. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, like I said, I'm not surprised. All right, so remember a couple years ago, of course, 2018. Here it is. Harley Davidson opened a plant in Thailand in late 2018, largely in response to a tariff, 31% tariff in Europe. In Europe, sorry guys. Of course, this happened under the previous administration because, Trump was trying to bring back manufacturing to the States. They wanted to increase tariffs on manufacturers that are building, kind of like Ford and Chevrolet and everybody else that are manufacturing vehicles outside of the States. Like I said, if you guys don't know it, Google it. You guys can see it. 31% tariff. That was the reason why Thailand. That's the reason why Harley made this plan in Thailand. And the Harley scene in Thailand is also huge. All right, so just trying to get into some of this stuff. Of course, Harley Davidson ends production in Kansas City plant. This was when they closed it around that time, I believe, if I remember right. I'm just Googling stuff just to kind of show you guys, give you guys a little bit of history. But like I said, they did open up a plant, and I remember, you guys see here, I believe the Sportster and the Dyna were built at this plant, and that's the reason why they closed it. They killed off the Dyna in 2017, and they killed off the Sportster in 2021. So let's move on to the next one. Workers are pretty nervous after Harley Davidson moves work from Wisconsin to Thailand. Like I mentioned, of course, they're going to be nervous. You're not sure what's going to happen. A lot of the bikes that are made in the US of A, they're pretty much just assembled here. A lot of the parts, like I mentioned, since 2007, probably 2006. You guys can argue when the Harley quality completely fell off a cliff in the comments, but they started really importing a lot of these parts from outside of the States. China is one of the main ones. A lot of their accessories, or a lot of their plastic components, like the fairings, the saddlebags, the wheels. If you guys seen my posts on social media, you guys will see that a lot of the stuff is made in China, and they import that stuff to the States where it is assembled. They're still assembled in the States, but of course, like I mentioned, they want profits. And even though I'm gonna try to move on with this because I don't want this video to be too long, but even though they're cutting costs by moving manufacturing outside of the States, they're cutting costs by importing all of these goods and assembling them here in the States. They're cutting costs all these ways. They're cutting costs by closing down plants. Some of these workers have the plant was built in 1988 or 1998, whatever, 1998. I mean, some of these people are already capped out on pay. You close this plant, people could probably relocate, but I mean, you're saving yourself a ton of money off of it happens. All right, you put a new job position, instead of being a part-time employee or being a full-time employee, you can label it as a temporary or as a trainee or as you guys get the point. They can make a new position to fill in the old position and then cut the pay by half. So by the time somebody applies at this new plant, they're making half of what the previous the people in Kansas City, which could probably be making cap, max, or the position itself at that plant, or that. You guys get the point. All right, they're saving money by switching over workers, and I believe there's something about like 800 employees at that plant. If I saw it somewhere, you guys probably saw it in one of the articles. Maybe it was in the in this one over here. I don't know. I saw something 800 employees. But anyways, guys, getting on, of course, shifting. I remember earlier this year they were having production issues because of supplies. And that's just where it comes down to. If you're getting these supplies from outside of the country, and they're stricter on the lockdowns, I'm gonna call it lockdowns. I'm not gonna call it the other word. But if they're stricter on that, which is, China has a very strict policy on the lockdowns, on the I'm gonna call it a flu. So you guys know what I'm trying to say. Then of course it's gonna halt production here in the States, because we can't assemble those parts, or Harley can't assemble those parts when those manufacturers overseas are completely locked down. So there's also the other issue, which is also what I've already mentioned before. You have manufacturing in China, you have manufacturing in India. So, I mean, they're not manufacturing bikes, but they're, of course, throwing the bar and shield badging on these bikes. You have the X440, you have the X350, which are Harleys that are manufactured outside of the States. And then you also have, Thailand. So, like I mentioned, even though they're manufacturing outside of the States, you're still going to pay the same price, all right? You're not going to pay less for these bikes. We all know Harley Davidson. The prices are always going up. So even though they're saving themselves, quite a bit of money, you're still going to pay the same price at these dealerships. You're not going to get a discount. The only thing, they're getting out of it is they're getting higher profit margins, because they don't have to pay, the minimum wage here in the States. They don't have to pay healthcare. They don't have to pay vacation. They don't have to pay sick leave. They don't have to, you guys get the point. They're saving quite a bit of money. The overhead, of course, is another one. The land and the energy and all this other stuff. So this is why you see, of course, the previous administration getting these tariffs to kind of, to incentivize companies to build here, to offset the costs of profits and labor. You guys could say whatever you guys want to say. Anyways, you guys get the point. I think for the most part, I believe a lot of people saw this coming. The Thailand, I believe they're making decent products. I as far as I know, I haven't seen any Thailand built bikes here recently. I don't know. I mean, what's going to happen? Are we going to start seeing? Because it really depends on the VIN. I believe, like most other manufacturers that have production outside and have production here in the States, you could distinguish in the VIN where it was built. So maybe we'll start seeing some of these VIN numbers with a T on them or something like that, because when they're made in Japan, they have a J in the VIN. So maybe we'll start seeing some of these Harleys that are manufactured outside of the States with a specific manufacturer number that signify which ones were built in Thailand. And if you guys wanted to, I guess you guys could boycott those models, by looking at the VIN, making sure they're made or assembled here in the States. Or you guys could just completely boycott Harley Davidson and not buy their product until they start making them here in the States. Or maybe we could probably see what happens with the tariffs. See if there's some type of incentive, if you guys get what I'm saying, some incentive for them to start manufacturing here in the States, providing jobs and making sure their employees are happy with what they're earning and stuff like that. You guys get the point. So life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.